Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit Zappy here, back again with Hunter x Hunter. We are on episode 144, and in the last episode we had Hisoka go out and Illumi as well, basically take out that whole fucking anti-chairman faction thing, and it's basically just not a thing anymore. Pterodyne's dead, Hisoka killed him, and he also killed Bushidora as well. Lupe is like nowhere to be found, so I assume he's gone into hiding because, basically they'll be out looking for him, trying to get rid of this whole thing before their identities are released. I mean, they don't know the ins and outs of Lupe or what he's planning to do. We saw that he had his own agenda, but I assume that he didn't obviously give that out to the public, so it makes no difference to Hisoka or, about, considering that whole thing. So yeah, I mean, who fucking knows? We had some more information regarding Aluka, and that the fixing thing is basically if you fix something with regarding a wish, it actually turns the following requests into nice requests, and they don't ask she doesn't ask for very bad stuff. If you you know what I mean, if you ask for something that's very self-indulgent, the requests afterwards tend to be bad. But fixing stuff, they turn the requests end up being good afterwards. So it'll be interesting to see what those are afterwards. I'm sure we'll get to those depending on who she asks for requests from. The election, we're down to 4 now, which is Pariston, Leorio, Cheadle, and Mizai. I feel like Pariston's getting ever closer, but something's obviously going to have to crop up to make this a some kind of battle down to the last two, which I assume is going to be. I don't think Mizai Storm's going to be in there. I suppose anything could happen, but I feel like Jean propped up Leorio to this point. I feel like so that he's pulling the strings from behind there, and it's probably going to be Pariston and Leorio in the last two, but it could very well be Cheadle as well, since she seems to have this she seems like an interesting character, at least out of the out of the Zodiac 12. So who knows? There could be something that happens with that. And yeah, I don't think there's anything else to really talk about. So we're just going to get straight into episode 144 and see what we get. So without further ado, let's go. Okay, episode 144. Right. Well, that was interesting. I love the fact that they can just have an election and people speaking about it and the reason why they should be voted in or whatever, and have it so intriguing the whole way, because the idea that at the very beginning Jean was essentially leaving, although he's not now because Cheadle forced him into it essentially, but yeah, so Jean bringing up the whole idea, because Jean can see right through him, because he is the same. He basically comes out and admits that he is the same as Pariston, and that he doesn't want to win or lose, and be in that way inclined, unpredictable, which of course it totally makes sense. But the idea of being unpredictable, even though the outcome that he's hoping would remain the same, is obviously the idea. He wants to win, at the end. It's not that he wants to win, it's more like I said, Pariston doesn't want to win or lose. He wants to drag things out and make a meal of it, make it act it out like it's a sort of game, but in the end he comes out on top anyway. That's sort of the idea. The interesting thing as well is that not only is it similar to Jean, but it's also similar to Netero, which I didn't say during the reaction, but yeah, the idea that it is similar, because if we go back to the fight that he had against Meruem, that was it. He did sort of drag that out to a point where I remember when they were fighting, and it was kind of this last resort thing that I almost set it up that way. But if we go back to sort of that episode, it kind of there were moments where Netero was talking out loud and being that way inclined. So it does definitely ring true, and whatnot. And then he brought up the whole thing of when Netero basically went out and set off that the nuke or whatever, that 5,000 airships left. I don't know if it was 5,000 airships, it was something like that, 1,000 airships went out to collect the cocoons, which I completely forgot about. I completely forgot they even existed. which yeah, of course, like it completely makes sense because they were all in the same state that Palm was. Palm was essentially like supposed to be, like the main one that would determine like how well it would work. But that doesn't change the fact that all those that were in cocoons, are still like Palm at this point. So it's going to be an interesting thing. Though I don't think there's going to be time to really go into that with what 4 episodes left. So we'll have to wait and see. Whenever the anime continues on or whatever. But yeah, I completely forgot about those. And then he talks about how Pariston obviously wants to have fun with them in some capacity. Jean basically saying that after this election is that the next Hunter exam is basically starting up, and that the fact that that was directly after he said that he wants to have fun with them, and the fact that they seem to Pariston's ideas to almost change the sort of regime of the Hunter Association right now and the commandments and all that stuff, and sort of break that down. It also makes me think that the Hunter exam is actually he's going to use the people that were in these cocoons in the Hunter exam. I feel like that it has to, right? I mean, he brought it up immediately after that. I feel like they almost go hand in hand, which that's going to be fucked. Also, Jean basically, well, Jean didn't say it, but Cheadle did bring it up, the idea that he was interested in Leorio. So I of course got that. I got that, which I'm happy about. It's always a nice thing when you pick something out before something happens. But I mean, I don't even know how hard that really was to get, because I feel like at that point you kind of know Jean is sort of, he doesn't, and I suppose even in this episode, even though this was the one where it was sort of revealed that he was interested in Leorio, is the same one where he admitted that he is the same as Pariston in that he doesn't want to win or lose, or he wants to do something, like keep something unpredictable, right? So, if you just pick up these sort of like the signs that of a character that Jean actually is, it makes sense. But I'm happy I got it nonetheless. So I said that I was going to go into the whole Ikshompe thing because he came out, or they came out, whatever it is. I feel like it's a she. The only reason why, because hold the phone. It's because that to me looks like a woman. Also, I've noticed as well is that I was going to say that the body is a bit less cartoonish. It's like but they're just gloves, so I imagine be normal size hands within there. But I was going to say like it's mostly normal aside from the head, so it could just be a mask as opposed to like a full avatar of a body. But yeah, who knows? But yeah, I said that I had to go back and talk about that because I didn't get what she said. I'm just going to say it's a she. I don't know. I could be wrong. Whatever. Whatever Ikshompe said. She said that it's not even in her world, so she doesn't even care about it. And she said that Jean should stop, running away from this or something and come back here. So, or don't run while you're ahead. So I guess he was making strides, and I guess this is, the Greed Island thing. Like, he was making strides in this whole sort of digital sort of technology and whatever, like stuff that had never been done before. And then he left, and I assume because he got bored, which is something that Jean obviously says something in this episode, like, I get bored quickly. So it makes sense that he would have made Greed Island and just went like, right, fuck yeah, bye, I'm out of here. Which is probably what Ikshompe is talking about there. Is like, don't run while you're ahead. Like, come back and do all this stuff. Continue on. But I don't know. I don't know who she is. Who knows? Cheadle becoming unpredictable was great. For some reason in my head, it only occurred to me as soon as she got up to the podium. Oh yeah, vote for Leorio, of course. Like, play him at his own game kind of thing, at Pariston's own game, and become unpredictable by getting all the votes from Ms. Storm, and then her and Ms. Storm's votes combined over to Leorio basically gets Pariston beat. But then Pariston, of course, does his fucking thing and then says that they should go to like his vote should go to Mizai. The idea being that because Pariston has basically control over a certain amount of votes, means that he's never really out of the race, and he's always got the chance. So, like, he's always going to be up there, which means that he can just carry this on for as long, as he, as he wants. Which I think was the idea, right? Now, Cheadle and Mizai looked at each other, kind of got what the vibe that they're going for. They're going to try and tear the whole thing down, especially like the system in which Pariston's like a part of and has control over, because that seems fucked. I mean, that's corrupt already, which it's not surprising coming from this guy. I mean, I feel like he always was anyway, but who knows. Also, yeah, we didn't get any Lupe this episode either, so I don't know what he's doing. He's out there somewhere. I don't even know if he showed up to this thing. Don't think he did, but who knows. Yeah, I said during reaction as well, like Leorio, I completely sort of like, I didn't forget. I just it wasn't something that was in my head at the time, but it really came out here, like in the emotion, because he didn't come out and say it directly, but I feel like the sort of acting, the voice acting or whatever, must have got it across, like to just remind me that like the reason why Leorio started off doing this, like he didn't even want to become a hunter in the first place. He just wanted it so he could get enough money to take a degree and become a doctor, right? And this whole situation's like rather similar. The idea that his friend is in a bad way and he can do nothing to help. So that bringing up that in the speech was awesome. Like, I mean, he went he went too far with the whole jerking off thing, like saying that I just do this. Like, he just basically laid it all out on the table. But that was, I mean, that's what made him so popular. There was because he laid it all out. It's like politics and fucking politicians and stuff. Like, we all pretty much assume, like most of the time, that we just go for the better one, like the best out of a bad bunch, or choose like the best out of the candidates that are up for it, because we assume that they're still like, they still have like their own little agenda thing going on, where like you don't entirely trust them. So it's kind of that thing that because he laid it all out on the line, like he's incredibly trustworthy. And I did that. Like, I wrote that whole thing down of the person that is generally the best for the job is the person that doesn't want it, because they don't have that agenda. They don't necessarily care about having it. Therefore, they can't drastically like change things in their favor because of that position, or they're in a position that is almost a blank slate, which means that they can, they can be trustworthy in that regard. Somebody who plays the game like so, like nonchalantly and casually and confidently, as much as Pariston is, like, is it any wonder that any people look at him, and the hunters and whatever look at him, and the ones that he isn't in control of anyway, and says, like he's clearly, he clearly has his own agenda under there. He's clearly fucking like corrupt to some level. Like what his face says and what he actually is saying is like completely different. So yeah, it makes sense that Leorio is the one to go up against him because he is that way inclined. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much all I've got. So yeah, very interesting indeed. That vote now for those four is going to be interesting. I feel like regardless, I don't know what Cheadle and Mizai are going to do at this point. Because regardless of how, like, this next vote isn't going to go through again, is it? It's not like the person isn't going to be decided by this election or by this specific vote, meaning that it's going to go to the final two, isn't it? Which means that it's going to be Leorio then, isn't it? Has to be. But I think the idea was, Pariston he nominated his votes go to Mizai. He controls however many votes of those he has to bring him back into it. meaning that I don't think after this vote he will be top. I feel like somebody else will be top. It'll either be Leorio or Miss Ice Storm, but whoever's top won't have 50% or more. So, or more than 50%, I should say. So they won't win, but it keeps the vote and election thing going on longer, which is obviously, you know, what Pariston's trying to do. So, you know, what a bastard. What a fucking arsehole. I hate characters like him. Like, they're so far up their own arse. But, you know, it just makes it all that better when they get their comeuppance, which I'm sure he will. I hope he does anyway. I don't know if he'll do it and like get it in the next 4 episodes, but I'm sure at some point he will. But anyway, yeah, that's all I've got. So thank you for watching. In the description below I have links to certain things. One of them is the Discord, so you can get yourself over there if you wish. And I also have a Patreon page as well. So if you do want to support me on Patreon, that'd be very much appreciated. There is a bunch of different tiers and rewards there, depending on how much you want to support me with. So there's the early access there for early access there for $5 a month. That gives you access to shows a week early, and yeah, I'll be finished the show by that point anyway. So if you want to get access to the last 4 episodes immediately now, then you can do by going over and becoming an access to our patron, or you can just wait 2 weeks and like all of the episodes will be out. So yeah, you can do that. There's also $10 there for full length if you do want full unedited, you know, and uncut versions of these reactions. So you know, it's basically the full episode, completely uncut, not 10 minutes or anything like that. Then you can do by becoming a full tier patron. And then there are other tiers where you can pay to have a certain show reacted to as well. So if you want me to react to a show, go have a look at those tiers and see what they offer. But that's all I've got. So thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.